Okay, here we are. Hello, welcome to this rooming live stream. I don't quite remember where I left the last time, but let's see what we can do here. If the music is too high, let me know. I think I'm going to start by let me okay, I am going to make this hair look a little bit better. The hair material, I mean. Let's see if I can get something. You know what? I think I'm going to just use a plain color like this. Yeah. So I will be able to see the clumps better. Um, okay, let me first flip this gradient to have the dark on the roots. Is this one? Something like this. That's too much. Yeah, that's better. Something like that. Okay. Okay, I'm going first to adjust the length of the hair because right now the back is just a mess. Doesn't make any sense the length. So I'm going to change the the length of all the guides and then create some clumping. Let me hide all these modifiers. First, I'm going to check the current length of the guides. I am not sure what length I have right now, but I do know that it's not the same length on all the guides, and the guides are baked, so I'm not sure the exact value. So I'm gonna have to check that. For that, I'm going to use the length brush. I'm going to set a max value. I'm going to guess maybe it was something like 40. And I'm going to set the same value as the minimum. So when I use the brush now, the hair will be set to this value like this. But as you can see, I am making it longer, so it was maybe something lower like this. Yeah, that's fine. I want to make it just a bit shorter anyway. Maybe not too much. Maybe 38. Like this. No. 36. Yeah, that's okay. So as you can see, some of them are being cut because not all the guys had the same length, and that's what we want. We want to make them all the same length. Okay, I will take the length of this one as reference because I don't want to groom the hair again. So let's, this one maybe like 35. Yeah, that's okay, that's fine. I want to make all the guides the same length in the front and the back. All right. I thought this crash was fixed. Okay, we are going to have to go one step back and do this again. The line brush, set a max value and minimum value. Okay. Now the hair have the same length. Going to unhide the hair now. This is how it looks now. It has some nice shape here, more or less nice. Let me add some guide clumps now to get some big clumps. Okay. I'm going to reduce the fly away fraction to 0 and this one to 0 as well, so we don't have any fly away hairs. And we have this guide clumping. To add this one here, this one here. That's better. I'm going to comb the hair here on the back just a little bit. Like this. Yeah, that's enough. going to open the tips of the clumps just a little bit, but first let me turn this on. First I'm going to add uh, uh, some freeze below the clumping to add some volume to the hair. I'm going to set the outlier fraction to 0 and decrease this. Maybe it should go on top of the clumping like this. Yeah, just to add some volume to the clumps like this. Let me first try with the clump curve. This was not showing before, so this helps too, like this. Maybe here I'll turn on the freeze again, get some volume on the clumps. I want the clumps to look more unified, but I don't want to add too much freeze. I think it will look better if I reduce the thickness and increase the hair amount. Something like this, maybe. Let's go with that. I'm going to create a clump ID channel to then use this for sub clumping. So above freeze, I'm going to use another clumping to add some sub clumping. Let me create a copy of this window so I can just select the hair and see the results. So I'm going to use the clump ID channel created in the first clumping node here, this one. Let me change the name, like main clumps, something like this. So these main clumps create these big clumps that you can see now, and also create a clump ID channel that will be used to control the subclumping in the second clump node. Let me call this secondary clumps. So we have to go to the sub clumping section, region, channel, and here we select the clump IDs channel. This channel was created by the main clumps. Now we go to clumps and Mustafa Monsen, can you show how you started placing your guides? Is that a possible way? I placed the guides manually. You can see that in my other streams. Let me see if let me send you a link. The first video was yeah, it was this one. I think it's not here anymore. No, I didn't start with pre-baked guides. I started I planned each guide manually. So the video doesn't seem to be here. I don't know why, but I can give you a link to a Maya video where I show this process. Let me see if I can find it. Yeah, it's this one. It's the same as this. I plan the guides and then come them one by one. This is what I use for this group. Basically, okay, let me create another scene. Basically, what I do is I create hair on a scalp mesh, right? And then I delete all this, and I set the guides count to 0 here. Go to edit guides, root mode, and plant guide tool, and start planting guides like this. But I go one by one and groom them like this individually, like this. I hope that helps. So I was in the clumps here, the secondary clumps. Let me get this window here. So I was in the sub clumping here. So in the region channel, I use the clump ID created by the main clumps. Then I go to clumps and just pick a number and click create clumps. This create clumps from the other clumps. Again, I'm going to set the flyaway fraction to 0 so I don't get those I don't get those hairs. Let me just set it to 0 like this. Yeah. So as you can see, this create clumps. Create clumps from the main clumps. Let's see if there are intersections. So yeah, if you get this result, wait a sec. Epic pen. So if you get this result where some hairs cross the clumps or cross the parting line, this is caused by one of the clumping modifiers, as you can see here. To fix this, you go into the object tab at the bottom and turn on respect hair parts, and then you go back to clumps and recreate the clumps. Or it's not there. Fixed. Oops, where am I? Okay, here I am. How do I delete this? Okay. Oh, it's not on. That's why. So you have to do that with the secondary clumps on. Okay. Then you click create clumps. If you see that the problem is there when you turn this on and regenerate the clumps, then you go to region clumps candidates here and you start increasing this number. There, fixed. And if you see more of them, you keep increasing the number. 80. You keep increasing it like this. One more time. Maybe just a little bit more. There. No more hair crossing. Completely clean. So we now have some big clumps and sub clumps. Now this one. You see? Let me save this. But I want to open the tips just a little bit more, or add more volume to this one as well. Let me copy this window again. The parting line, Mustafa Mosen, please can you show how did you create the parting line? Yes. I don't wanna I will do it in another window. Let's see. Let me close this first. Okay, yes. Let me open another version of the file. Maybe this one. That's because I don't have Redshift. installed, so I get that error message. So to create the parting line, right? The parting line. So in Hair from Guides, I have Hair from Guides here. You see those blocks, right? Those planes. Those planes are created here in the parting tab using the parting tool. Let me delete them. Delete, 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 delete. Okay. So you have your guides like this, right? And you want to create the parting like this, or whatever you want, right? So in Hair from Guides, you can see the hair is crossing like this. We don't have any parting here, so we can define this parting line using parting planes. So you use these tools here. To start, I'm going to add one plane. You can turn this off so you can see the line. You can see where you are supposed to draw the planes, and you draw the planes like this. All right, we don't see the planes because this is off, so we actually have to turn it on. You can see them now. So I'm going to draw one plane like this, and you can see how the hair is being pushed by the plane to the left and the right, and you keep adding planes because the planes are not curved, so you have to add more than one, probably, like this. And now we have our parting line. Let me turn this off so you can see like this. You see? We have the line here. If we increase the... Let me increase the hair count so you can see it better. You can see the line there. That's it. That's how I did it. Okay. Okay, I replied to that. Good. Okay, no problem. Let me close this one and switch back to the other project. So where I was here. So we have some freeze here where, well, a lot of freeze. I don't know if that's what you want. Perhaps you want a hair like this, really curly hair like this, with a lot of volume like this. You can see that we have this. We can see how where the hair cuts, the tips of the hair. We can see them like this. What we can do to fix this is maybe close the clump tips a little bit more, or we can just at the top here of the hair stack, we can add a length modifier. Where is it? Here at the top, right? And let me again create a copy because I can't see anything here, so I have to McDonald, new follower, welcome to the stream. So I have this, and with the length we can randomize the length of the hair, so we don't get these cuts here like this. To do that, let me put this here, right here. Okay, we have this randomized parameter here, so we can increase it like 5%, and as you can see, it's less sharp. The cuts are less sharp. Use this parameter carefully. Use really low values like this, otherwise you will mess up your room. We want to maintain a good length. Maybe 5% for now. You leave this here, and let me show you the difference, the before and after. This is with length randomization, and this is without. With and without randomization. I don't know if this is what you want, some really big hair, curly hair. Maybe we can increase the amount here or the scale to create more of this shape like this. We can increase the scale for that, maybe 5. You see? Let me flush this like this, and you get some really curly hair like this. And but with such volume we get hair intersections, right? A lot of it. If you want to fix that, to the people who didn't watch the last live, on top of the freeze, you can add a push away from surface. What is it? This one, push away from surface. By default, it will use the scalp as the collision mesh, because I generated the hair from a scalp mesh, this one, which is not the full head. Let me show you. Okay, you can see the scalp here, the scalp mesh. This black and white area here. So right now the hair is colliding only with that mesh, but we want it to collide with the whole head, the whole character. Let me hide the scalp again. For that we have to go into the push away from surface modifier, and we are going to turn off collide with distribution mesh. We don't want that. So we just have to add here in collision meshes, add the mesh that have the whole character or the whole head. In this case, it is this one. So I'm going to that and just click and drag. It may take a few seconds. There it is. Now the hair is curving here on the shoulders like this. So there you have it, some really curly hair. But we still have some hair here going inside the mesh. To fix that, we can increase the distance here. Use low values here to not mess up the hair like this. And you can keep playing with it like this. Let me increase the width at the roots a little bit. Okay. There is another question, which is better to generate from a scalp or over the whole character and use a density map? I will use a scalp. Yes, using a scalp, I find that the distribution, collision, hair generation is a bit faster. So yes, a scalp, but then you have to find a way to wrap the scalp to the character mesh. That is if you are going to animate the hair. So you have to take that in. You have to have that in mind. So we can see the collisions here. Like this. It's going over the shoulder and collides with the back. So it looks really nice there. Maybe we can decrease the decrease it on the tip, decrease the freeze, I mean. There you go. But this is not what I'm looking for. So I'm going to hide this. What we did. Let me save first. Save this version for later. Okay, I'm going to delete these two. I don't need them. And I'm going to reduce this 0 because I just want some volume. I don't want any scale or any outlier hairs. And reduce the amount maybe to 5. Yeah, maybe something like this. You know what? To see the tips of the clumps a bit better, I will increase the thickness, the width of the hair. Let me check the volume again. Yeah, I like that. Let me check again the secondary clumps. Okay, so I'm going to the secondary clumps, and I will add another layer of clumps based on the secondary clumps. So I'm going to do the same as I did with the main clumps. I'm going to generate a clump index channel. May take a few seconds. Okay, just in case, I'm going to regenerate the clumps. Okay, so on top of the freeze, let me add another clump modifier. Let me get the window again so I can deselect the hair like this. So in the secondary clumps, I generate 1,000 clumps. So I have to use a higher number than that because I want to break all those clumps on even thinner or in smaller clumps. The first thing to do is go to the region channel and do as we did before, but this time I'm going to use the new clump ID channel created by the secondary clumps instead of the main clumps. I hope it makes sense. So back to the clumps tab, and let me choose a number of clumps and click generate or create clumps. And as you can see, we get smaller clumps. So we had some big main clumps and break them down in secondary clumps, and then another layer on top of that. So we have 3 layers of clumps. I'm going to increase it maybe 3,000. Okay, and we have this clump here, this clump here that is trying to go to the other side of the line here. is going to go from this part to this part. This one is trying to clump with the hair with this area here, and that's not correct. This shade here, don't touch. Okay, so we have to do as we did before in the object tab. We go to sub clumping section, animare. Yes, I have this problem a lot. Yes, to fix this, you just have to turn respect hair parts on this in the sub clumping section here and regenerate the clumps. If it doesn't go away, you go to region clump candidates here, and you start increasing this value like this. You may have to use higher values like 100 or 200, but in this case 50 is enough. You have to have in mind that increasing this value will slow down the clumping generation. The higher the amount here, the slower it will be, because it have to do more it have to do more calculations. Maybe lower this a bit until we see some maybe 30. Yeah, the lower here the better, but in some cases you will have to go to really high values to get rid of that clumping well clumping mistakes, clumping errors in the algorithm. Yeah, that's it. Okay, so we have now 3 layers of clumps. Let me check here on the back, before and after. Yeah, let me save another version of this. So this is the part where I start playing with fly away hairs here in the last clumping, the finer clumps. I start increasing this value here. Mustafa Mosen, can I add clumping guides manually? I'm not sure if I understand the question. Clumping guides manually. Well, yeah. Yes, I think you can create clumps manually, yes, and it will create a clumping guide. Let me show you in another scene. Right now there is a crash with that tool that the team is working on that, but let's see if I can make it work without crashing. So if you have a clumping modifier, and if you go and generate some random clumps like this, now we have some random clumps. If we use this tool, clump editing, you can see that you now have access to the clumping guides, which you can see these red lines. these are the clumping guides. You cannot comp these guides, but you can delete them and you can create them. And yeah, you can use external curves as clumping guides too. Yeah, sure. But um, as I was saying, uh, creating random clumps will create some clumping guides, and you can't comp those red guides here, but you can delete them and create new guides. For example, let me go out of this tool. I will delete all the clumps, and I can use this tool here, clump hair editing. If I use this tool, I can select some hairs like this, select a bunch of hairs like this, and I can create a number of random clumps for the selected hairs. For example, I will create one clump and click create clumps. You see now this creates one clump. If instead I put two clumps and click create, it will create two clumps. This one here that is not with the rest, that doesn't clump with the rest, is because this parameter here, fly away fraction, if I decrease this to 0, now it will be clumped with the rest. So now we have two clumps, and if we go to clump editing tool here, now you can see we have two guide clumps. So the answer is yes. You can add guide clumps manually. Now, your other question is if you can use external curves as clumping guides. Also, yes, let me delete this clump modifier. Let's see. Oh, I don't know too much about Cinema 4D. So I am not sure how to create curves here, right? I think I have to use this tool. If I'm wrong, correct me. So I'm going to create some curves. Okay, I have to, okay, something like this, right? Okay, I have to, okay, so I have uh, to guide two curves here that belong to the same object. So when you add a clump modifier, you have one, two, three, four clumping methods. One is random, that's what I was using before, by strand groups. This is if you want to make one strand groups, one whole strand groups, make it one clump, a single clump. So for each strand group, you will have one clump. Clump guides, this is when you want to clump the hair using those guides, the guides created in guide from mesh or edit guides. So here you use those guides for clumping. Let me show you like this. You see, for each guide you have one clump. With random clumps, you can put here whatever number of clumps you want and click create clumps. Now, I'm sorry. Now you have another option here, which is external clump strands. When you use this option that I'm not sure if it's working right now because there is a crash with this node, but let's try. So when you choose this option here, you have this field, external guides, where you can choose external curves to use for clumping, uh, external guides or curves. So you click and drag them here, or I think, okay, this is for external guides only, right? These are not guides yet, so we have to convert them to guides. For that, we have to go to add hair and click hair from curves. So use this one here and click create. Now we have guides. We can just hide this one, hide the curves, but we have the guides. We don't need any of this. We only want the guides. Now back to the clump modifier, and hopefully it will work now. There you go. Now you can use this, let me rename it to external guides clump. External guides clump. So you click create clumps, and you can see the hair is trying to clump. Let me it's trying to clump to the to these guides. But as you can see, they are not clumping completely with these guides because the hair is too short. So you have to have that in mind. So yeah, that's it. Um, where was I here? Okay. Yeah, I was creating some clumps here. Okay, I think I am going to move this detail modifier, move it to the top here, so the clumps will have more detail. And maybe increase it just, no, maybe change the smoothing settings, just a bit. Maybe it's too much smoothing. Can we do it all again tomorrow? Everything ends, but I don't wanna feel another day with sorrow. Much. I know I can take the love and the heartbreak, cause I've been a teenager. Okay, let's leave it like that for now. So I was working on the clumps. Create a copy of the window. Let's see the before and after. Maybe increase the amount of clumps. 1,000. I say you mentioned earlier in the forum to separate hair layers with channels. Sorry, the Facebook group. Separate hair layers with channels. Um, I am not sure if I understand the question. Separate hair layers with channels. Like if you want to create multiple hair objects in from one set of guides. The other question is from Mostafa Mosen. Can I export the guide clumps created by random method? Yeah, not right now. I was talking to Marcel about this because I want this too. I think this can be useful. Right now you can't do that, but I will see if I can convince Marcel to make this happen, because I think that if we can convert the random clump guides to guides that we can comp, this can be super useful. Oh, sorry, I found the post. You said to create the separation between the top and lower hair layers, use a parting channel. This is giving me an error. Okay, I think it was on Facebook, right? Yes. Maybe if you show me the image, I can give you one example, because I'm not sure right now. Okay, yeah. I think I know what you mean. Let me create another project. So let's say we have this object, a sphere. You are on Max, right? You are not on Cinema. You are not in Cinema. Yeah, this is one of the things that so version 1, this is the version 1 of Ornatrix for Cinema, which is based on version 2 of Ornatrix for Maya, right? I know it's a bit confusing. So this was what you are asking for was introduced in Maya version 2, so it should be here in Ornatrix version 1 for Cinema 4D. But I don't know how to explain this properly. Let me open Maya first. And to answer Mostafa Mosen, can I isolate some hairs in the viewport? Yes, you go into hair from guides and you go to isolation tab, and you click hide and you draw the you click and drag like this, and the hair that are inside the square will be shown. and the rest will be hidden like this. If you click and drag in the viewport, it will show all the hair like this. So I was in Maya here. I have to show you the concept of this. You will have to find a way to do it in Max, because I don't remember exactly. You can do this in Max too, but it could be a bit different. So we have this hair object here, right, which have only one set of guides created with edit guides or guides from mesh. So I'm going to open the attribute editor. Let me accommodate the window like this. Is it fine now? Or whatever. So like this, we have this hair object, and you create a strand channel, a per strand channel. Let me call this hair object 1. Then you paint the guides. Well, here we are going to generate 2 hair objects from the same set of guides. This is what I was talking, what I was trying to say in your post, right? So you select the guides that you want to go on top and create a per strand channel and assign a value to it. You can choose the current value here. This is from black to white, and you assign the value. Now they are white. Now we have white guides and black guides. This is one channel. These white guides represent this white and black guides represent the hair object 1 channel. So if you use hair from guides, you can go to distribution channel and select the hair object 1. Now the hair will be only generated on this channel on the guides, on the white guides of this channel. Okay, so let me turn this off again. If we go back to it and create another channel, hair object 2, and let me paint this group of guides here white. Select one here and click assign value. So we now have these white guides here. So if we go back, we can change the guides that will generate the hair from channel 1 to channel 2, like this. Okay, so for this you are going to need 2 hair objects to drive two hair objects driven by a single guides, a single set of guides, these guides, right? So you are going to go to the Ornatrix menu, and oh god, I am not sure if branching have been implemented in Max in the current version. I'm gonna have to check that later. So the idea is that you will create a second branch. For that, I'm going to turn this on here and I'm going to add, for example, another hair from guides, or um, hmm, oh, oh, you got it. You think you can do it now, or you can also create two separate guide sets. There is a question by Mustafa Mosen. What is the difference between groups and channels? Yeah, I have to check if the feature is there, because I think it's there, but branching in Max works different, because Max use a modifier stack, but Maya use nodes. uh, and I haven't been using Max in a long time, and I don't quite remember. So branching will work different in Maya, in Max. I have to check that. Um, Mustafa Mohsen, what is the difference between channels and groups? Uh, Let me reply to Mustafa first. Um, the difference between channels and groups. Um, okay, for that, let me go back to cinema. So the difference between channels and groups. Let me create some groups first. Sorry. Um, strand groups here. Turn on use strand groups and assign unique. Assign unique. Assign group. Strand groups are like a single value. They are an index. For example, this group here is 3. All the guides that belong to these groups have this index 3. So if I want to add a freeze, for example, I can use the group 3 here, this group here. But I also can combine group 3 with group 2, for example, and I have here group 3 here and group 2 here, so I can apply the effect of freeze to more than one strand groups using the index like this. But channels, the difference with channels is that they can have different values along the strand. For example, you can have the same. Okay, let me clean this just to one guide so I can show it better. Let me also increase the width like this. So with strand groups, this guide will have a single index. It will belong to one group or more than one group, but it will always have one index, right? But with strand channels, you have two options. One option is that you can have per vertex values from root to tip. For example, you can have black here blue here, and whatever other colors you want. This is from black to white, of course. But if it was a strand group, it will be a single color. And let me give you an example of the second case. The second option is that you can have the same color from root to tip, but in different shades. But in groups, if it was a group, it will always be a single color that you can use it to apply any effect like freeze. Let me give you an example with a strand channel per root, per strand and per vertex. For example, first per strand. Let me create a new channel, and I'm going to use the paintbrush to paint this channel. The default is black, right? I'm going to, you can set the color and then start painting like this. You see that it goes from black to white, depending on the pressure of the pen or the strength of the brush here, right? So if I apply the freeze instead of per group, if I apply the freeze per channel like this, I go to amount channel and select the per strand channel. The whiter, the white black here will be represented as 0, so the freeze will not have any effect on this strand, but white values will have the full effect of freeze. Let me turn this on here to see for example, here I'm going to set the current value to 0, and as you can see, if I paint the strand black, the freeze effect will be removed. Is that clear? And if I set it to white and start painting the guide, it will start to add the freeze effect again, like this. Black will remove it, and white will apply the effect. And you cannot do this with strand groups. Is that clear? So basically, you can apply different intensity values using strand channels. With strand groups, you just have one value, the full effect. How to make it on vertex from root to tip? Okay, for that you have to add a per vertex channel. Here, you select this and add a per vertex channel. Let me set a name, per vertex. And you use the paintbrush with your channels selected, and you start painting like this from root to tip. So I have to go to amount and switch to per vertex channel here, and if I paint, you can see the effect will be applied along the guide depending on the intensity of the black or the white values. like this. Let me first increase it at the roots like this, and use a value here, something like this. I don't know. Not anymore. So like this, you can paint black or white to define the intensity of the freeze or any other operator along the strand like this. The same applies for width, for example. Let me first add a mesh from the strands and set it to tube, so we get a tube like this. Let me increase also the point count, so we get a smoother strand like this, and add the change width. I'm going to increase the width like this, and let's say we have the same width along the strand like this, but you want to use a width channel to control the width using the paintbrush. You go here and select your per vertex channel, and let's go back to edit guide, select the brush mode here, the paint brush here, and go to the channels tab and start painting the channel like this. Let me, for example, set it to black, and okay, slowly, maybe that was too much. Like this, you can paint the value like this. And you can do this with any operator that supports a channel. Change width takes a width channel here. Freeze also. Let's see what others support channel. Hair from guides. Freeze, call, clumps. Yeah, you can clump with channels as well. Length, details, surface comp, rotate, symmetry, I don't think so. Normalize, gravity, push away from surface, multiplier, propagation, scatter as well, resolve collision, the oscillator, move, and noise. Yeah, so pretty much all the modifiers. Okay, let's see the other question. Do you use branching much? Let's see in what cases I use branching. Okay, let me show you. I think I have an example here. I think I have one in my channel. It's not here. I think it's in the other channel. So to make this bird, the feathers here, it may look like it's a single hair object, but actually here I used branching. Here I have like 6 branches for each feather type. So yes, I think I have one branch for these feathers here. I have another branch for these smaller feathers here. I have and a branch for this one here. 1, 2, 3. I have another branch for these feathers here, and I'm sure I also have a branch for the shaft of each feather, for like the shaft, is it called? Wait a second. Feather anatomy. Yeah, I have one branch for the shaft, for this thing here. So this is one case where I will use multiple branches. I also will use more than one branch if the hair have braids. Wait a second. So yeah, I will use more than one branch if the hair have braids, or if I have a hair object like the one you showed on Facebook. But you don't have to use a branch there. Maybe you can just separate the top part and the lower part into two separate guide subject, and then you can create two separate hair objects. Could be easier also. When you use branches, it may also get slower because you have more operators depending on each other. It's like a big network of hair nodes, so it will get slower. It can be useful in some cases, but maybe for your case is too much. You don't need that. I think I will just use two separate hair objects. Let's see if there are more questions. If you apply freeze after hair from guys, does it not pass the Vertex info to allow some channel to work on Vertex channel rather than just per channel? This is something I have to do. So basically your question is if Yeah. So let's say you have a per strand channel created in edit guides below hair from guides, right? The per strand channel will be passed from the guides to the hair, so you can use it on top of the hair like this. So if I go here to the width channel, you can see here the per strand channel, okay? But to get the per vertex channels to pass hair from guides, or to be converted from guides to hair, you have to go into hair from guides, go to hair data, and turn this on. Generate per vertex data. So if you are using hair from guides and you go to any other operator on top of hair from guides, you should be able to see the per vertex the per vertex data here. It's not showing right now. Perhaps if I add another or perhaps I have I have too few guides. Perhaps I have to increase it like this. Let me delete these channels and create another one. Test like this and paint some values. As you can see, it works because it's adding it to here to change width like this. So yeah, you just have to oh no, wait, I have to add hair from guide. So right now it's adding it to just the guides. Yeah, sorry. So basically, let me turn this off again and let me simplify this a bit. Okay, let's add hair from guides. Where is it? Hair from guides. So right now I have this test per vertex channel, and if I want to use it on top of hair from guides, it's not there. We have to go into the hair data here and turn this generate per vertex data, and I think I have to regenerate the hair like this, and there you go. Retro 3D. I think this answers your question. But the new value will affect the freeze too. Well, I don't know the context of this question anymore. You can create as many channels as you want, one for freeze, clump, etc., or use the same. Yeah, exactly. As Retro 3D said, you can use the same channel in multiple nodes or modifiers, right? Or you can create as many channels as you can. So yes. Will branching come to Cinema 4D? Yes. I don't know in which form, but yes. That's under discussion. The previous build, it wasn't working. Yes, there was a bug preventing this option from working. This option, but it's working now, as you can see. Okay. Let's go back to, let me close this and this. Oh god, I have to improve my English. It's terrible. So we were working here with the clumps, right? I think I will increase the clump amount, the clump count here. Let me see the before and after. Oh, thanks, man. I really have to improve. I can read and write, but I cannot improvise. So these live streams are very difficult. Okay, let me keep playing with the clumps. Maybe, yeah, maybe like this. I have never had a problem understanding you. Well, good to know. Uh, so yeah, and we can keep we can add even more hair clumping layers as much as we want. We just have to keep adding a clump channel here. We use this option always, and regenerate and repeat. Just add a new clumper, go to object, region, channel, and select the new clump ID generated by the previous clumper. And yeah, just oops, where was I? Yeah, clump here, and set your clump amount and generate. Maybe we don't have enough hairs here to generate the clumps that I want. So for now I'm going to hide this one and increase the hair count. Okay. One thing that you have to have in mind is that when you increase the hair count, like I'm going to do now, maybe 80,000. There. When you increase the hair count, you have to regenerate all the clumps modifier in the stack. So you have to go one by one and click generate again. Thank you. Far too kind. Go to the second, generate, there, and go to the next, generate. And you may also have to tweak the what was it called? The region clump candidates parameter. You may have to tweak that as well because you are increasing the hair count, so the clumper have more info to work with. So it may change how the parting looks, how the clumps look. So you may have to make some changes there. Okay, now we can add the length modifier again, and I had it like at 5%, right? Okay, let me delete this clump. I want to unify all those clumps because right now this really doesn't look good. So I want to unify those clumps somehow. In the front they look good because that's what I want. I want them to look like this, to have like those sharp clumps that you can see the gaps there, but we don't want that. We don't want that here on the back. That looks weird. So what we can do is, what I'm going to try is like create a per strand channel with these guides here and have separate clumps settings only for these guides and reduce the clump for them. That's one option. Another option is just use the same channel for all the guides but use darker values on these guys here and white values on the guides on the front. But before adding new channels, I want to first try tweaking the main clumps. To tweak the main clumps, I'm going to turn off everything that is on top of it, so I get a clear view of what it's doing, or of what these big clumps look like. Um, Give me a second. Um,
Standing in line to see the show tonight, and there's a light on, heavy glow. By the way, I tried to say I'd be there, waiting for Danny the girl is singing songs to me beneath the marquee. Overload.
okay, first I'm going to tweak the curve amount, this curve here, to reduce it, to reduce the clumping on those areas. It will be slower because we have a lot of hairs. So just for the I'm going to reduce the hair count just for the preview. And hopefully it will be faster. Let me tweak the freeze as well. I use this freeze to add more volume to the hair. So I may need to increase the value on the tips like this. Let's try with this and turn on the secondary clumps. Since the hair changes, and I'm going to regenerate them. You know what? I think my first stream was deleted because I used music. I use music on it, so I'm going to turn this off and use non-commercial music. This one, I think. Hopefully this one will. Oops. No items. No items. That weird. That's weird. Okay, let's give it a second. Okay, so I have way more clumps here. Let's increase the secondary clumps, double the value. Okay, I'm just going to close this. So, or we can also, let me set it back to 1000. We can also increase the away count, fly away fraction. That's too much. Maybe the other freeze like this. Not yet. Question: is there anything needed to render Ornatrix hair on Arnold? Um, no, not really. It should work, but I know that the latest build have some issue with it, at least on Maya. I don't know if the same is affecting C4V as well. I don't have it installed right now, so I can try. Uh, are you having any issues with it? Okay, what is the issue? Maya version 6. Maya version 6. Version 6 of Arnold. Is there a version 6 already? OXV6 in Maya. Uh, do you mean Max? Do you mean 3ds Max? Because there is no OX version 6 for Maya. It's version 3. Okay, you have Arnold 6 and Ornatrix version 2 in Maya. Okay, let's try. Let's give it a try. Good thing we have her already here. So let's see what version I have installed. What is it called? M2A, right? Yeah. So I have version I think this is the last one for version 4. Where did you get the version 6? Or you mean the version 6, the core? Oh yeah. Yes, I have core version 6. All right. Is this the is this the same as yours? The same build? Okay, let's try. I'm going to add one light, a skydome light, and set the renderer to Arnold. This is OX version 2.5. Um, Open render view. Okay. It seems to be working. Okay, so you are in OX 2.3 and I am in 2.5. Maybe this was fixed already, so you are gonna have to try the 2.5 version, this one, uh, the one that I'm using. As you can see, it works fine. The hair is rendered. So yeah, try with a newer version. Do I need to copy and paste any files? No, you don't need to. In Maya plugins, no, I don't think so. So I'm going to leave this here and continue in the next. If you have more questions, if anyone have more questions, this is the this is the moment. This is the time. Uh, Thank you so much. No problem, ma'am. What is that? Oh, it's the chat. Um, yeah, no problem. You have to add a donate button. I don't know how to do that. I have no idea. How do you select hair isolation from layers underneath? Hmm. 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 From layers underneath. Okay, so like you want to select let's say this is one layer and you have another layer below it like this. You want to you want to select the hair that is under that one. Oh yes, right. Okay. So for that, I we want to add hair isolation by group. So you wait a second. So you will have your hair layers set like I do here in this mesh from strands, like this. Each color is one strand group, right? So in hair from guides isolation, we want to add the option to isolate using strand groups. Um, so yeah, this is not there yet. This is not in Max, in Maya, or C4D. This is not in any of the hosts. But we are thinking, trying to find the best way to to do this. My first my first suggestion was this: use isolation by strand groups. But there may be better ways to do this. So right now, no, right now, but in the future, yes, definitely. Do you consider using any preset for placing guides? For example, a long hair preset, another curly hair preset to use it as a starting point to speed up grooming process using presets. Um, no, I don't. No, I don't think so because the effect of freeze will always depend of the amount of strand points and on the length of the hair. For example, with the case of freeze, so the effect of freeze will always be different because the hair will always be different. The point count will be different. The length will be different. So preset will uh, I I don't think it will be very useful. What I would like is have some kind of uh, let me show you. I will like to have a preset for the guide's placement. Let me hide the body here. This is my scalp, by the way. I divided the scalp by sections, as you can see here. Then I start to plan the guides one by one. I mean, for placing guides, yes, exactly. This is what I want. I want some kind of preset that I can create with a scalp that I can reuse. So like have this scalp with the same roots, with the same guides for all the hair, for all the grooms. Uh, 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 Try to make it that I have to do the less tweaking as possible or not tweaking. But it doesn't always work. So I was able to create one that worked fine, that worked really well for two haircuts. But two grooms that were very similar. Uh, it was for long hair. But when I tried to use it for other grooms, it doesn't really work. But I think it can be done. I think we can have a preset that can be reused, not with the tool, not something that we will create to share with the user, because each user will have its own way to plan the guides and to groom the hair and to add details, etc. So you are going to have to create that preset for yourself, for your use case, for your grooms, for your workflow. It can be done. I find it difficult, but I think it can be done. Bake guides, yeah, it will be the same. It will be like find the perfect guide placement that is so generic that it can be used for as much rooms as you can without without changing the root placement. Then bake those guides and use it for as much rooms as you can. Yeah, but you have to experiment a lot. You have to find the perfect route placement that works for, as I said, as much rooms as you can. What I try to do when I'm uh, planting guides, what I try to do is this. I divide the hair in sections like this. Um, and when I'm planning guides, basically first I try to define the hairline like this without too much detail. I don't I don't I don't like to do this like to add too many guides like this to define the curve of the hairline. No, I try to create it really blocky like this, and I will leave the curve. I will leave this curve to the distribution map, to this black area. So I will, for the guys, I will have these blocky shapes like this, like low poly, like this, uh, and then try to uh, here, and then try to plant the guides in a regular distance, like this. Try to have the distance that I have from this guy to this guy. Uh, Try to have the same from this one to the next, like this. And then I try to fill those sections. Uh, I have the tool it already in the same way. The try to have the root distance as even as I can. I don't like to have like one root here and the other here and the next here. No. Um, when guides are too close, the interpolation will not be so good. Um, I found that the less guides you have, the better. But at the same time, you have to add more guides to have the shape, the hair shape that you want, right? So you have to find the uh, balance there between the amount of guides and the shape and the distance between the roots. So for you to create this perfect preset that works with many rooms, you have to try it by yourself. I think that this scalp can work with many rooms, um, but as you know, when you create hair from a scalp, you have to then find a way to wrap the scalp to the head then. So when the head moves, when the head deforms, the scalp will follow that, and then the hair will follow that as well. um I know how to do that in Maya and Max, but I don't know how to do that in Cinema 4D. After planting your guides, can you increase the density of the guides through the slider that respects the interpolation between guides? No, no. Basically, when you are planting guides, look, if you have guides from mesh, right? Guides from mesh is generating guides procedurally from the mesh, using the mesh as its dependency. It's using, perhaps it's using the UVs when you use when you use a distribution mode based in UVs like this, random UVs, or in phases when you are using the phase center. It will use the information of the distribution mesh, right? So the generated guides are contained inside these guides from mesh. It's its own data. But when you plant new guides in edit guides using a tool that belongs to edit guides, these new guides belong to edit guides. Guides from mesh doesn't know that these guides exist. So when I go to edit guides, I can see the guides because those guides belong to edit guides. They are generated by edit guides. But if I click in guides from mesh, the guide count here is set to 0 because it is not generating any guides. So if you change anything in edit guides, in guide from mesh, it will not affect the guides contained inside edit guides because those guides don't belong to it. It cannot see, it cannot modify data that it cannot see. To guide from mesh, these guides don't exist. I hope it makes sense. But what you want, exactly what you want, is being implemented in Maya first, in the version 3, the beta for Maya. Exactly what you want. You can try it and see if it has been implemented as you want. I think it is, but you can try it and you will see. And this will come to Ornatrix version 2 in Cinema 4D and to Ornatrix version 7 in 3ds Max. I hope my explanation makes sense to you. Question from Animare. What is the best way to make a nice gradual fade with the hairline? What is the best way? The best way. With Ornatrix, you don't have best ways. You know, you have many ways to do one thing, and the best way is what works well in your case, in your workflow or your pipeline, right? um let's see. I made a fade. The problem is that I don't remember the name of the scene, so I can show you. But I have the maps painted on Moodbox. Where are you? Here. Okay, so what I do to make a fade, uh, is basically paint a length map. I paint a map from black to white. I try to make a nice gradient. Let me load this scene. I hope nothing crashes. So I paint a gradient from black to white to create the to to yes, to create the fade. So I use this map as a length map with the length node or length modifier. So the hair goes from 0 or from 0.1 to whatever value I have set to the amount. So this is this is a length. Let me wait. Let me accommodate. Oops. Here. Okay. Let me show you. I hope this makes sense. You can see this, right? Okay, so this is a map. This is a length map. First, I paint the distribution map, and then I try to add some difumination, some fading to the borders where the hair will look thinner or shorter. You see, the hairlines, I try to make the hairline not so perfect, not so sharp, not too, yeah, not too sharp, not too clean. So I try to add uh some defect, yeah, some imperfections to the hairline like this. So first, I paint a distribution map with a very sharp hairline like this. And then I add a few more layers. Uh, as you can see, I have lots of layers. Um, Adding imperfections to the hairline like this. Uh, Basically that. Of course, I look at some references to get it right. I adjust the blending modes and the opacity of the layer. So yeah, I try to have the fading in separate in a um let's see. Yeah, so yeah, I try to have the fading in a separate layer. Then, okay, I take this map, I take this length or fade map and use it with a length modifier. I use the map as value multiplier. Remember, this is not a mask. This is a multiplier. So it will multiply the values on the map, the black and white values on the map, by the value that we have here. So yeah, it's basically a map, a gradient map in a length modifier. That's basically it. Let me show you the results of this. Yeah, I think I have a project. I just don't remember the name of the scene, but I can show you the final result. Wait a second. Mm, This one. this is the result of the process that I just described. So this yeah, as you can see here, I have my length node, and I have a map connected to it, like this. Um, I use so as I said, I use multiple layers for the fading. Uh, this was made in Maya, so I used whoops. So I used the node editor here. The I used the hypershade. Basically, well, this is a mess right now. Too many windows. So basically, I have my file nodes. I load multiple fading layers like this, and I start blending them or mixing them. Not with this, no layer texture. I start blending them in with this node, with this layer texture node. Different blending nodes, different opacity, etc. Until I get something that looks smooth, like this, like this. I like those lines like this. That I notice it, if you have a fade, if this is the type of haircuts that you use, you will, if you touch it, you will notice that the hair doesn't really disappear. The hair just gets very short, super short, to the point that is difficult to see, but the hair is still there. So don't to make a fading, don't use a distribution map. Or I mean, don't use the map in hair from guides, but because hair from guides will just remove the hair, and you don't want that. You don't want to remove the hair. You want to make it super short, so it almost look like it's not there, but it's actually there. If you try it yourself, you will see the difference. Use the map, create a length map, and connect it to the distribution multiplier in hair from guides. Then connect the same map to a length node in the length multiplier field, right? And compare. You will see that using a length modifier, it looks more real. Um, so yeah, remember that the hair doesn't disappear. It just gets shorter, super short, and thinner. The same applies for the how do you call it, the oh god, the fuzz pitch wait, pitch fuzz is how it's called, pitch fuzz hair, I don't remember, the facial hair, yeah, exactly this pitch fuzz, yeah. So yeah, the hair gets very thin, super thin, to the point that is it uh, disappear almost, but the hair is actually there. So we have little thinner hairs in the nose, around the eyes, on the forehead, on the neck. Uh, so yeah, you can also use a length map to use to create peach fuzz hairs. Use that and you, uh, yeah, yeah, it's not that difficult. Um, you see how you see this and you may think that this is not uh, normal, but I have hair like this, hairs that uh, are very high, close to the eyes, even. But they are just really short and very thin that you can't even shave those hairs because they are too thin. They are almost invisible, but they are there. So for this type of hair, use also a length map. Use a fade map in with a length modifier or a length node. When I say modifier and when I say node or operator is the same. I'm referring to the same. So operator is the same as node and modifier. Uh, Node is how I call them in Maya. Modifier in Max and Cinema. Operator is how we call them internally. Uh, uh, yeah, so it's the same. Any other question? Let's see. Let's see. We have more questions here. Okay, what is the best way to make a nice gradual fade with the hairline like this using a length map? Uh, After planting your guides, can you increase the? Okay, I answered that question already. Sometimes the hairline is too sharp and doesn't have a nice blend. Exactly. Use a length modifier with a length multiplier map here. This value here. And you can also add some randomization. Um, So it is length map, not a thickness map. You can use both. You can use a combination of both. It is all about experimenting. You can try. You try one, then you try the other, and you can see compare. That's what I did. In some cases, you may need both. In some cases, you may need the same map in both or slightly different maps. It's all about experimentation. You have to try. Uh, in Ornatrix, there is not a best way to do something or a recommended way. There are many ways to do one thing. So when you try, you will realize what is best for you. How to blend between hairs on different scalps, for example, grooming a rabbit where the ears have separate scalps and head has another scalp. How to blend between hairs so as not to show a sharp line as line between scalps. Yeah, well, if you are using different scalps, unfortunately, you will have to groom it manually to get it blend to get it to blend as you want. But there is not a magic way or a modifier or a parameter to blend two different hair objects because they don't belong to the same stacks. Now, Marcel is working in something really interesting, where you can blend. You can blend, yes, but the hair have to be both hair types have to be in the same hair object. This blending use strand groups. Let me show you in Maya. Um, Let me create a new scene. So basically, let's say you have one strand group here. Let's call it group one, and you have group two here, right? And then you add, let's say, uh, let me turn this off, and then you add length. If you decrease this will affect all the hairs. Oh no, yeah. I can show you this right now, because what I was going to demo is just in version 3 beta. So this is yeah, in version 3. This is version 2. So I can show you this right now. But there is a demo in the Facebook group. Um, so yeah, you will be able to do that, but both hair types have to be contained inside the same hair object, and this will be done using strand groups. What do the guides look like? Um, Animare, I I don't know the context of this question. What were we talking about? That's amazing result. That's a good point. Very handy tip. Yeah, which one? Very helpful stream. Thank you. No problem. I will try to do more of this. Uh, how can I add a different color to a set area of the hair for redshift, like an odd strip of pink streaks? Can this be done from a map applied to the scalp mesh? Um, Retro 3D. So how can I add a different color to a set area of the hair for redshift, like an odd strip of pink streaks? This can be done, this has been implemented in Maya, and for now, it only works with redshift. So basically, you use strand channels per strand or per vertex channels for shading. So basically, you paint a strand channel and you import this channel into the Redshift shading network, and you can use it for masking. For example, you can have multiple hair materials or multiple hair colors or well, yeah, to um, using the channel as masking. I hope that makes sense. But this cannot be done here in cinema yet. But um, well, the hair Yes, maybe you can do this uh with a texture map in in the scalp, in the distribution mesh. By default, well, this depends of the hair shader, so it's a difficult question actually. I will have to look into that. Yeah, I will have to look into that and give you a reply in the next stream. Because the hair object can be set to inherit the UVs of the scalp, right? So you can paint these pink straight hairs on the scalp, and the hair will take that color. Um, but the UVs uh, also depends on the hair shader, because some hair shaders will just use the UVs contained inside the hair strand. So I rather not give you an answer right now instead of giving you the wrong answer. I will have to check that. I will look into that and give you an answer later in the next stream. Um, uh, uh, mm, mm. the guides on the shore, the guides on the short hair example you show. Okay, you want to know how the guides look in my short hair grooms. Um, I don't know where is this scene right now. I will have to go through a lot of files to find it. So basically, in that scene, I try to have as less guides as possible. Do I have it here? Yeah, so I can give you an example of how it look. So, uh, okay, first let me show you. Let me look for an image. Hair swirl. I think that's how it's called. So I try to make the guides flow in. Sorry, flow in the direction of the hair swirl, like this, and I try to have as few guys guides as I could, uh, with a decent distance between them, like this. First, I created this, and then I started to add more guides like this. And in the actual room, it will look like this, and here like this. But in my room, all the guides have the same length. When you create a room like this, I won't worry too much about the guides of the length like I did in the one that I'm doing now, because you are going to set the length using a length map with the length modifier. So guides over here, down here, have the same length as the guides on the top, have exactly the same length, like this. But as you can see, the hair is super short, but that's because of the length map. So I will start to make a groom like this. I will start from the top, from on the hair swirl, like I did here, all the guides with the same length, and try to define the flow like like you see here. I- It's really simple. Just don't add too many guides, because the more guides you add, the more work or and time it takes to room all of them. So try to go um, slow with the guides. It's like when you are creating a ZBrush sculpt. You start with a sphere. You start with almost nothing, and you start to first define the shape, very very rough details, and then you increase the poly count. Do the same with grooming. Start with just a few guides, very little details, a rough shape, and then start adding more guides, details, modifiers, more maps. Yeah, as you can see here, this short hair is actually really simple. I planted the guides manually, so these guides from mesh is not doing anything. All the guides were planted in these edit guides. Then I generated the hair, used push away from surface um, to well, I used too few guides, so some of the hairs on the back here, I think, and on the top here, were going inside the head. So I had two options: add a few more guides over here like this, and add a few more guides like this, or just use push away from surface. If I was doing this for production, I will just add a few more guides to to fix the collisions here, the intersections. Because push away from surface, yeah, this is a quick solution. It will do the job right there, but it will make animation and simulation slower. So I will prefer spend a bit more time adding guides and grooming them to look good, rather than slow down the simulation, the animation, etc. But that's your decision to make. That's up to you. That's just what I did. Um, um, okay, we have more questions here. Can you explain the usage of remember root positions in hair from guides and guide from mesh? Mustafa Monsen, can you explain the usage of remember root position in hair from guides and guide from mesh? Okay, so um, remember root position will catch not the shape, but the position of the roots, of the guide roots. The root is the first point of the guide. For example, okay, let me show the ticks. This point here, this is the root. But uh, this only applies if the guides that you are using are generated using guides from mesh, right? You have this option here, remember roots position. It will do exactly that. It will remember the position of the roots. Why? Well, because when you are rendering in a render farm, each computer, each node in the render farm will may regenerate the scene, the hair object a little different and the guide route may be different from one frame to the other. So when you use remember root position, you are caching the position, making sure that every computer in the render farm will use the same cache, will use the same root position. This will avoid flickering issues in the render. Got it? If you render something, if you render hair in a render farm and you notice the hair jumping around, is because the hair is being regenerated. The hair roots or the guides roots are being regenerated at each frame. So use remember root positions to tell the render farm to use always the same cache, the same root position, the same hair root positions. So it will avoid this flickering and the hair just jumping around and regenerating at each frame. The same applies for remember roots in hair from guides, is the same. So I think retro have a similar problem that related to the guide's root, right? So you created a room using the guides generated by guides from mesh, and you used a distribution map here, right? Let me create another object. Okay, let me create a new scene and delete this and close this. So remember, when you use guides from mesh, the guides are using the mesh as dependency. So if the mesh changes, the hair will change. The guides will be regenerated from scratch. So uh, so retro added a distribution map to guides from mesh, right? He added a texture here, and he had his guide groomed like this. He added new guides, deleted new guide, probably, but then he decided to change the distribution map. Maybe he changed one pixel or the whole map, but this will make guides from mesh. This will cause guides from mesh to regenerate all its data. So all the roots will be regenerated and the hair will change because the guides change. If the distribution map changes, and then the guides have to change because this modifier is procedural, right? Is an expected result. So to avoid this issue, when you are sure that you are not going to change the guides generated by guides from mesh, and if you have a map, you can also turn on remember roots. So you can have peace knowing that the guides will not change, ruining your room. But let me show you something. Each time you groom guides in edit guides, in the background, Ornatrix is saving each brush stroke. What I'm saying now only applies to V1, because this will change in V2. You will have an option called multi-resolution. Basically, you will be able to change anything here, to change distribution map, and your guides will not suffer. So have that in mind. Okay. Um, so let's say you have your guides here, your groomed guides, right? And then for some reason you change your distribution map, and this will change your guide's route. So let's change it here. Let's change from 300 to another value. So if I go back to edit guides, the groom is ruined because the uh, edit guides did its job using some data that is not there anymore, right? Some data that it was given by guides from mesh, but edit guides can find those guides because we remove them here. So for that, to solve this, if you are in the same session, because this will not work if you save and close, because the cache data will be removed with you if you close the session. um, yeah, so you basically have to select all the guides. I hope this work, and click retarget guides. Okay, and I look like an idiot. It didn't work right now. This is a bug. I think Retro reported this. Um, yeah, this is a bug. It will be fixed soon. So, but basically, the idea is that you click retarget changes, and it will uh, it will regroom the hair with it will regroom the guides with the new guides count. So your groom will be back to its to will be back to the to its to the shape that it was before, but with the new guide count. I hope that makes sense. Again, there is a bug preventing this option to work. This option is retarget guides. Um, it didn't work. It doesn't work right now, but it will be fixed soon. So the next time you find this case that you change the guide count and your room is ruined, have that in mind. Have this option in mind. Right now, it doesn't work very well, but it will. It will work. Don't worry. uh, Let me try it again. Yeah, it's not working, but okay. Next time, I will try to have this fixed for the next stream so I can make the demo. Okay, let's see more question. Okay, as if you wanted her like like tiger, apply text map to the solution. Oh yeah, yeah. If you are, for example, painting four that looks like a leopard tiger, uh, yeah, you can just paint those lines, those strips. You can paint them in the scalp, in the distribution mesh, and the hair will inherit the UVs of the distribution map, and we will if you apply the same shader to both, it will have the same colors. So yes. Mm. Did you use Surface Comp? Surface Comp in what? In what? I used Surface Comp in the Peach Fuzz hairs here. You might not see them, but they are there. Um, you can, for example, use a Surface Comp to create this type of flow like this. It will be super easy. That's what I did there. You draw some things in the direction of the flow that you want, like this. Yeah, you don't have to groom that using any brushes. You can just do this and it will look fine. So the guys are for direction. Um, yeah, yeah, sure. The guides define the direction, the flow of the hair. Do I need to click on remember roots for guides from surface and hair from guides, or click for the both? You just have to click that on guides from mesh. Yeah, yeah, guides from mesh basically. Um, if you click it on one and you see that the problem continues, you can then click it on the other. Um, sorry. And does that mean I have to click on it anytime I'm going to animate or render my hair? You click on it when your guys are ready. Or yes, when you are going to send it to the renderer. If you are using a render farm, yes. You can see the same flow here. Uh, so if I added a touch of pink and the rest brown, I could get a strip of pink. That should work, yes. Yes, or you can use black and white instead and use that map as a mask. That's what I will do. So you will have more flexibility. Um, yeah. Any other question about this one? Uh, to make this line here, let me show you this line here. This line. Uh, I used uh I used a black line, very thick black line in a different layer, like this, going from black to white here, white here, white here, and 100% black here, to create this line. As you can see, there is some um, clumping. I use the same techniques that I'm using here with this long hair that we are doing now. Um, with this long hair, what is it? With multiple clumping layers, and I have some noise there. Uh, I mean some frizz, some hair frizz. I added some eyebrows and eyelashes. I didn't show the peach fuzz there. Oh, uh, you see the hair flow here on the back. What I was saying before about the hair swirl here on the back, it flows like this. Basically, it's like this. All right, so I will try to have the donate button in the next, so you can send me $2 million. I will have to check how to do that. Um, the other. Oh yeah, I did the same here. To create the fading, it was the same. Do you work for Ifir? Yes, I work for Ifir. Here you can see the eyebrows more closely. Ah, she looks like Captain Marvel, really? Uh, no, I didn't try to make it look like her, but oh, if only C4D looked that good in viewport. Yeah, that's a limitation, but we are trying right now to make it look better. Uh, right now there is a conversation about this in our meetings. What are the guides like for the eyebrows? Yeah, the flow in the eyebrows is interesting. Uh, Let me find there. Okay. No, wait, I have to. Yeah, I think I have a flu. Not the kind of flu that you are thinking, but some kind of flu. So the guides look flow like this. They go from they blend. The pitch fuzz is over here like this, right? Ta, 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 ta. Then the eyebrows blend with the pitch fuzz like this. You have this central line in the eyebrows that goes to the center like this, that goes through the center of the eyebrow like this, and the rest of and the hair is being unified at the center line like this. But it actually have way more guides that go like this. and goes in this direction like this. But these ones on the top like this, they are almost invisible because I used a length map to make them as short as possible and as thin as possible. So yeah, there is a bunch of hairs coming this way and this way like this that disappears and is getting longer as they get closer to this line, um, and uh, thicker as they get closer to this line as well. So yeah, there is a bunch of hairs around this area, but they are very short and thin. So the eyebrows are like a lot of hairs. Sorry, a lot of hairs unified with the peach fuzz. You can also make the eyebrows part of the peach fuzz. Peach fuzz, they can be in the same hair object. You just have to use some maps to blend them properly. Yeah, you can do that. The eyelashes were made. I added some guides, like or five guides like this, and I started to clump them to 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 create some clumps, manual clumps using the clump node. I have a video showing this. I I didn't show many uh, how do I say it? I didn't show everything I did there because it was not something that I planned. But if you want to take a look, let me find it. In my channel, this one. Here I don't show uh how I made the guides, how I comb the guides. I just show how I created the clumps for the eyelashes. Let me paste the link. So I just use the clump editing tool to create some manual clumping. That's basically it. The same applies for Cinema and Max. Okay, here you can see more closer the eyebrows. You can see the flow. You can see very short strands here. Then they start to get longer and longer and longer until they meet here and create this dark area, this volume of hair here. So that's it. If anyone have any other question, if not, I think I will leave it for today. And yeah. Okay, let me see your post. Mustafa Musen. Oh, that looks very nice. I guess the one in the on the right. Very nice groom. Yeah, very nice. Good job, man. Nice clumps and frizz. Very nice details. Um, so that's it, guys. Thank you for watching, for staying till the end, and for all your questions. Um, save your questions for the next stream. Retro, you have some questions about shading, right? I'm going to try to answer that in the next. Um, just in case you send me a reminder on Facebook chat, so I can have that in my plans. Uh, okay, goodbye. See you later, guys. Have a good day, night, afternoon. Take care. See ya.